Have you ever wondered if cemeteries, where we lay our deceased to rest, are truly just cold gravestones, or if they are doorways to another world? At night, when the darkness descends and the tombs lie in shadow, you might feel something strange. Perhaps a tomb is not just a place to bury the flesh, but a place that holds untold stories, restless spirits, waiting for someone to find them. In this story, we will walk into the dark cemetery where spirits do not just linger in silence. They are waiting for someone to find them. Do these spirits truly exist, or are they just illusions? Let me tell you the strange tales that have unfolded in these graveyards, where truth and the supernatural meet and encounters with the inexplicable take place. I, Mark, cemetery manager, have worked here for 10 years, and every time I pass through the old iron gates, I'm used to the eerie stillness that surrounds the place. Each evening when the darkness falls, the space becomes more silent and eerie. However, tonight is different. Something feels off. I can't explain it, but an uneasy feeling is consuming me. The rain starts to fall, the heavy raindrops hitting the earth, creating streaks of water on the gravestones covered with moss. The atmosphere grows even darker, and each tomb, although old and faded with time, stands silently under the rain. This sight is all too familiar to me, but today it feels like there's something strange, something unsettling. It's as though there's a presence, a spirit that hasn't moved on, lingering in this place. That feeling is impossible to shake. After finishing my usual tasks, I drive around the cemetery to check the grounds, as I do every evening before locking up. Suddenly, as I pass a row of empty graves, I see a figure. At first, I think it's just a figment of my imagination, but as I look more closely, I see a man walking quickly down the narrow path between the tombs. He doesn't look at me, just continues walking, as if unaware of my presence. I honk the horn, hoping he'll notice the cemetery is closed, but there's no response. The man only turns his head briefly and walks briskly into the bushes, disappearing completely from sight. A feeling of unease creeps over me. Despite working here for years, I can't shake the anxiety. I take a deep breath, grab my umbrella, and step out of the car to head toward the bushes, where I saw the man disappear. The rain becomes heavier, the sound of it tapping against the leaves and the wet ground makes the atmosphere even more oppressive. Each step I take echoes through the silent space of the cemetery, and I can't get rid of the feeling that I'm being watched. I walk past the old graves, the faded tombstones in the rain, and when I reach the spot, I look around in the darkness. All I see is rain and the empty graves. There's no one. I turn back, but I still feel as if I'm being watched, though I don't know what's really happening. Back in the office, I pull up the security cameras and review every angle. The rain makes everything blurry, and the darkness makes it hard to see. I continue working on some paperwork when suddenly a loud noise startles me. The door to the visitation room slams shut on its own. I jump, my heart racing. I can't explain it because that door had been locked before I went outside. I quickly stand up, calling out, "Is anyone there?" But there's no answer. I rush into the hallway, looking around, but no one is there. I call out again and head to the window to peer outside. And then something happens that makes my heart stop. I see a man standing opposite me, silently staring at me through the glass. His eyes are empty, emotionless. He doesn't move, doesn't say a word, just stares. My heart pounds, my breath catches in my throat. This man seems strangely familiar. I blink and try to focus. Could it be the father of Antonio? The man whose funeral I had just helped organize a few days ago? But that can't be possible. He was buried. I move closer to the window, my heart still racing, but the man doesn't move. I can't make sense of it. It's as if something's waiting to unfold. I rush outside, run to the spot where I saw the man, but he's gone. Everything around me is still, the rain still falling, and I stand there, soaked and alone, unsure of what's happening. I go back to the office, lock the door, and secure the place. When I get home, my wife notices I'm silent and asks about my day. I shake my head, telling her it's been a long day. But the truth is, even now, lying in the dark room, I still can't shake the feeling that I'm not alone. The spirits of those who passed, are they truly gone? Or are they still lingering here in the darkness, waiting for the chance to tell their untold stories? As we got closer to the abandoned building, Sean found a way inside. He called me over, but I stayed where I was. Suddenly, I heard a loud crack, like wood breaking. I looked in the direction of the sound and saw an older man, probably around 55, gray hair, wearing a black raincoat. He was dressed in jeans and had a mustache, but that was all I could make out. Then he opened his mouth and screamed. Not just yelled, but screamed at the top of his lungs. "Get out!" His scream was so loud, I thought I saw birds fly away in a panic. And just like that, I started to feel lightheaded, and suddenly everything went dark. It felt like I passed out, and when I came to, I realized I was being dragged through the woods. I freaked out, thinking I was being kidnapped. But when I turned and got up, I saw Sean, looking terrified about something. He told me to follow him and run back to the car. I didn't ask questions. I just followed him through the woods. As we ran, I heard something close behind us. When I turned, I realized we were being followed by someone, so I ran even faster. We finally reached Sean's Honda, and he put it in drive before the car had even started. But Sean told me that when he was in the abandoned building, he found a strange symbol painted on the wooden floor, the sign of Satan. Around it were creepy dolls with button eyes. He couldn't see anything more in the building because when he heard the old man scream, he rushed out to find me. When he got to me, he saw the old man walking slowly toward me, and Sean immediately dragged me away, pulling me into the woods. He literally picked me up and threw me over a fence to get me out of there. I quickly regained consciousness, and that's when we ran. It was the first time I ever fainted, and I don't know why it happened. But the fact that it occurred in a cemetery with a satanic ritual-like building right next to it made everything feel even stranger. A few years ago, my grandfather passed away. I was very close to him, and this past July, on his birthday, I decided to visit him at the cemetery where he and my grandmother were buried. It was about an hour's drive from my apartment. My family lived closer, so they all went together, but I had to go alone. It was a rainy, gloomy day, and there's nothing worse than visiting a cemetery on a dreary day. The gatekeeper asked for the plot number. I gave it to him, and he let me in. The cemetery was large, and I had only been there a few times before, but never as the driver, so I had trouble finding it. I didn't see many people, if any, at the cemetery that day. I'm sure the weather had something to do with it. Eventually, I found his stone and parked my car in the grass beside it. I placed some flowers under the stone, stood there for a while with my eyes closed, and prayed. When I opened my eyes and looked up, I saw an old man standing about 5 rows of graves away, staring directly at me. I knew this man. It was my grandfather. But no, it couldn't be. I rubbed my eyes and he was gone. I wasn't sure if it was a spiritual moment or if my eyes and mind were playing tricks on me. Either way, I got chills and my skin prickled. I got back into my car, said, "I love you, Grandpa," and drove off. On the way home, I had a headache, but I couldn't explain why. I was the only car on Prospect Road, a quiet road with dense forest on both sides. Normally, deer cross this road. My car sped down the road, and then I spotted someone on the side of the road. It looked like my grandfather again. My heart dropped into my stomach, and I swerved the car. I tried to regain control and stop just in time. Luckily, I didn't crash into a tree, but I skidded to a halt in the middle of the road. I looked back to where I saw him, but only saw a deer standing there, looking at my car. My heart raced, and I was terrified. I had to focus on driving, knowing what I had just seen twice. The rest of the day, I felt strange. Not sick, but something was off. I went to bed early after watching an episode of my show. Around 2 in the morning, I woke up to my phone ringing. It was an unknown number. My heart started racing again. A call at this hour couldn't be good. I answered the call and put the phone to my ear. At first, there was static. Then I thought I heard my grandfather's voice over the static for just half a second. I tried to say hello again, but I was too shaken. My body was literally trembling. Then the call cut to silence and ended. The next day, I contacted my phone provider to trace the number, but they couldn't do anything due to a lack of data. I don't know if that was just a technical issue or something else, but the events that unfolded that day and night remain the scariest experience I've ever had.